Hello guys, welcome to Go Do Micro Projects. Kindly check this application out. When I say next profile, next user pops up. Check this out. Good. In this video, we're going to develop this application using React, hooks, and Redux. If you want to type along with me, kindly install the following. 1. npm install Redux. 2. npm install React Redux. 3. npm install Redux DevTools extensions. 4. npm install Axios. With all said and done, let's begin. Thank you very much. Let's begin by creating 3 folders in our SRC folder. Okay, so first one we're creating, call it assets. Now the second one, we call it components. The third one, call it Redux. So that is that. Let's do the first one, assets. Now the assets, let's create 2 folders. One, call it images. Then create another folder again and call it spinners. So that is that. Now we need, with the images, let's go to the net and grab some image. So I take that and have this image here, call it try image. I drop it inside the try image.jpg. Then the spinners, I also have a yin gif that I downloaded from the internet. So the yin gif, I drop it in the spinners. Good. So our assets column is ready. Images and spinners are all ready. So that is that with the assets. Now we move to the components. Now with the components, let's create a folder and call it user profile. Good. Now in the user profile, let's create a file and call it user app.js. Good. So that is that with our boilerplate RAFCE. Good. Now instead of ordinary div, why don't we make it React fragment? So we say React.fragment. So inside that we can say h1 tag, then we say hello. Let's link that to the app.js to view on the screen. So we go to app.js and to view on screen. So we say we call our user app. We import that. So import user app. Good. So that is that. It's been imported. Let's check our browser. See this, if any issue, great, we got no issue, so we're ready to go. So to begin with, let's look at the structure for our application. Okay, to go to a structure. Now in this application, I want us to have a card, and as usual the card header. Then we have a picture here. Then beneath the picture we have our username, the phone number, the country, and the rest. Then lastly beneath we have our button to help us go to the next user profile. So that is that with the card. Now with the page setup, I want us to have a 4-4-4. Yeah, it divide the page into 3 equal parts. So 4-4-4. So we're going to work in the middle region. So that is that with the page setup. So we can begin. Good. So to begin, we close all this. Close this too. Close up No, close this one, right? And then you work in the user app. So instead of hello, we create a div. So create a div, and inside that we give it a class name and call it row. So inside the row, what do we need? We need a column for the page setup. So we say call md4. Okay, we have another call md4 again. So good. So we're going to work in the call md4. Now in the call md4, what do we need? We need a card. Okay, we need a card. C-A-R-D. Good. Card. Now inside the card, what do we need? We need card header and card body. So we need card header, and second one we need card body. Good. So that is that with card. Now let's do the first one, the card header. So the card header, what do we need? Let's take an h4 tag. Sorry, h4 tag. Then inside that we have random user profile, random user profile app. Cool. So that is that with the header. Now let's view on the screen to see how it's doing. Great. Now let's make it bold. Give it some margin top. It's a direct. Good. So to make that bold, we just say class name here and say font weight bold. So that is that. Let's give it some margin top. We can see MT4. Good. Now, what again? We can center it and say text center. That is that. Let's check it again. Great. So now what we need to do is to add some background color. So to do that, we need to go to our CSS. Then we call our card header. So we say card header. Give it a background color of RGB. Great. So done with our card header. And what do we need? Let's check that out. Let's give it a color. Say color. Give let's give it color. Let's give it white smoke. I think so. Now let's check that out. Good. So that is that. Done with the header. Now let's go to the body. So this is the body now. So we can see the body section. BOD body section. The body section. Now in the body section, what do we need? A profile container. Let's call it div. So I give it a class name. We say profile container. Inside a profile container, what do we need? We need, let me just copy that. Good. Inside the profile container, we need let's say the top container and the down container. Good. So let's say top container and down container. Okay, so make this one top container, and make this one the down container. Now let's create width and height for the profile container, the whole profile container. Okay, we'll go to our CSS, then we say profile container. So let's give it the mean width of 350 pixels, the mean height of 400 pixels, and what else? Good. Let's give it a background color of RGB 202 226 to 8. So that is that with our profile container. Let's check that out. Good. Let's give some border radius. Good. So let's say border radius 10 pixels. 10 pixels. That is that. Let's check it out. Good. Now let's work on the top container. Now the top container, let's give it a height. Good. So the top container, this way. So let's say height 80 pixels, and let's give the background color RGB 834. Okay. Let's check that out. Good. So now we can get our image. So to work on the image, let me give some space for the container. Good. So work on our image. Let's give it image container. So we say div, give it a class name equals image container. So inside the image container, we can now have our image. So we say img src, we call it profile image. Inside that we have alt equals profile image. So that is that for the image. And we need to load the image, so we go up and import it. So let's say import profile image from where? No, assets. Yeah, let's get to assets, then images, and we say try image.jpg. Let's check that out. Great, we got our image. So what do we do next? We need to round the image and the container. Let's see how to do that. We go to the CSS, we copy the image container. So we say go to our CSS, this image container, give it the width of 120 pixels, and the height is height of 180 pixels. Then give it background color white, then border radius 50%. Good. Now let's check that out. Good. think this the image is covering it, so let me give the image to the same thing. Just cover this. Paste it nicely, then add RMG to it. This the image, let's give it the width of 110, height 110, no background color, and border radius. So let's check that out. Good, great. So now let's create a centered CSS. So we say centered. Inside that we can say display flex, and justify content center, then align items center. That is this. So we use the centered. So the centered, we can say I'm going to copy the centered and take it to the image container. The image container can say centered. Let's check that out. Okay, we see centered nicely. Now we need to center it also, so we go to the top container and also say centered. See that one too. Good. And we use translate to bring it down a little. So to do that, go back to our CSS, go to our image container rather, yeah. But then we say transform translate y 30%. Let's check that out. Great. So that is that with the top container. Now next one to do is look at the down container. Now with the down container, let's give it width and height. So we come here, down container. So over here we can say height is the same width. So the height we say height, give it 200 pixels. Background color red. Let's check that. Good. Now let's give some margin tab to bring it down here. So we say margin tab 80 pixels. Let's check that out. Great. So that is that. Good. Our down container is ready. Now in the down container, I want us to have some margin, some div, and call it profile content. Call it div class name, and call it profile content. In the profile content, what do we have? We need an I tag and what? And h5 tag. Good. We're gonna have these two tags. The I tag, let's take the first one. Your class name. Let's call it fa user. Then the h5 we can say good do projects. Okay. So that is that. We have the name, the user. Let's check that out. Good. Now let's work on the display so that we have the font awesome adjacent to the name. Okay. So how to do that? We need to go to work on the profile content. Good. Go to CSS and say profile content. And inside that we can say display what? Flex. And what? Justify content. Different content. Let's take flex that. Then align items, same flex that. Let's check that out. Great. Now we need to just give some margin left. So we say give it this margin left 20 pixels. Let's check that. Good. So I think that is that. Let's, what do we do next? Now let's take them one after the other. Okay, so let's take the first one, which is what? FA. Okay, profile content FA. Okay, so let's go here, profile content FA. Profile content FA. What do you need? Let's get the font size. Font size. Good. Font size 25 pixels. Background color of what? RGB. Let's say 41, 37, 37. Good. That is that. What again? Let's check that out. What is wrong? Oh, sorry, it's there. Color, not background color. Color. Yeah, get this. So that is that. Now let's give some margin right. 20 pixels. Okay. So we say margin margin right 10 pixels. Okay. Let's take the red off. We don't need this red. Good. So let's see. Great. So that is that with the I font also. Now let's attack the H5 too. So what we do, we call the same thing, just copy and then paste it, and I say H5. I know this is the same thing. Okay, so if I can do this, let's see. Right, good. Let's see here. See. Yeah, good. That is it. So we can add a font family. So font family. Let's say fantasy. Let's see, good. So that is that, guys. It's ready. Now we can copy this 4 more times. Then we should be ready to go. To the profile content. Just copy it. 1. Do the same thing for the flag. And we copy it again. Do the same thing for phone number. Good. And last one. Do the same thing for email. So we say for envelope. envelope. But that's it. Let's check that out. Okay, so next we need a button. So we say, now we create the button outside the down container. So we say create a div, and we say class name btn. Let's go down btn. Let's go. So inside that we have our button btten. Okay, we say next profile. Okay, next profile. Go. So let's check that out. Good. What we're gonna do is to, I think we decrease the, how do you call it, the width a little so that it can go up. So instead of the fonts down container, we can make it 150. Let's check that out. 180, we do 180. 180, get 180, yeah. So that is that. So what we do, we make the button cool, look cool. So we say btns. So inside the btn, we can say give it a background color, RGB 8834. Then give it a color white smoke. Then we can give it font size 15 pixels. Then the border and what again, border radius, yeah. Border radius 10 pixels. And what again, font weight, bold. Then some padding we say 6 pixels, then 10 pixels. Sorry, 10 pixels. Good. Let's check that out. No. What is wrong? I think. Oh, something BTNs. Oh, sorry. So the BTNs should be a bit like this. I need a BTN here, so just copy this. Cut it. Let's put it here. Better. So let's check that out again. Great. So that's guys. We are ready for Redux to fetch the API. We use that to change all the stuffs. So to begin Redux, let's close this and go to Redux. Now in our Redux folder, let's create a file. Let's create a file and call it store.js. Inside the same folder, let's create another file and call it root-reducer.js. Now inside the same Redux folder again, let's create another folder and call it user Redux. Now in the user Redux folder, let's create 3 files. The first one, let's call it user.actions, user.action types. .js. Let's create the second one and call it user.actions.js. And the third one, we call it user.reducer.js. Now, let's move to the action types. Now with the action types, let's create 3 types of actions that we're going to need. So we call them export const. Then we say load data request. Now inside that, we're going to have the same name, load data request. So I'll copy this all and do likewise for success and failure. So we say success, last one, failure. Okay, failure. So that is that with the action types. So the next thing to go to is the .actions. Okay, now we begin. We need to import the action types. So we say import say what, load data request. Come on, load data success. Come on, do. So next one is load data success. Last one, load data failure. So that is that. Let's rearrange this nicely. Okay, so that is that, guys. So next is to import Axios. Let's say import Axios from Axios. Yes, not that. And third, we say export const what, load data equals to a function. Okay, and inside a function, what do we need? We need to return an async await. Okay, inside that, we're going to have our try and catch. So we say try and what, catch. Good. So let's do the first one, try. Now with the try, to begin we need to dispatch with a type called what, load data request. Good. Give this place to dispatch. Sorry, dispatch. So that is that load data request. So now let's get our URL. So we say let data URL equal to. Now what is our URL? Now let's go fetch our URL. So we go to Google and say random user API again. And let's check that. random user API, go down and copy the URL. Copy that and paste it nicely. Good. So that is our URL. So we say let's response equal to weight and assumes dot what get what data URL. So that is that. So we can now dispatch what? Dispatch a type called what? Load data success, comma, give it a payload what? Response dot data. So that is that. Next is the error. Now should we have an error, what do we do? Let's dispatch what? Dispatch a type called what? Load data failure, and give it a payload error. So that is that with our fetching of our API. Okay. So next is to go to our user.reducer. So to begin our user.reducer, we need to import our action types again. So I'll go up and import it. Let's copy and take it to the user.reducer and I paste it. Good. So that is that. Now next is to create a feature key in the store. So we say sports const, let's call it user key equals user, no, small letters, user store. That's it. So now we can create our initial state. We say let initial state equal to what? Let's give the data value empty array, and come on, let's say loading. Let's give it false. Come on, let's give the error message the value empty. Okay, so that is that. Good. Now lastly we can say export const user equal to a function. Good. Now inside that we can have our state equals initial state. Good. Comma action. As we all know, we say let what? We have our type payload in the what? Action. So with our switch statement, switch statement when given a type, you can say with a case load data quest. What do you do? Then what? Return return what? Return the state. Come on, make loading what it's false, so make it true. So that is that with the load data request. Now how about a case when we have load data success? Yeah. So we have load data success. It's load data success. What do? Give us the state back. This time make loading back to false. Come on, then make data. Give the data the payload. So that is that with a load data success. How about load data failure? Let's take that for failure. Failure, what do? Give us the state back. There's nothing like loading. We have what? Error message. Error message which we're going to give a payload. So that is that with the load data failure. So lastly, we can return our default state. Default to return state. So that is that our default. User dot reducer is done. Next thing is to go to the root reducer. We go to the root reducer, then we import the user.reducer. We say import user reducer from React. No, not from React. From Redux. Then from user Redux, then from user reducer. Let's say use reducer, so user reducer, the name user reducer. So that is that. Get next. So next is to import what's combine reducers. Combine reducers from Redux here, that's it. So finally we can say let's root reducer be equal to combine reducers into bracket. Let's link them together. So we say user key, we're given a value, user reducer. So that is that. Let's export our root reducer. So we say export root reducer. Now export root reducer to where? To the store. So we go to the store and import it. So we say import root reducer from root reducer. Yeah, that way. Good. So next we need to import create store create store comma and what apply middleware. Create store apply middleware from Redux. Good. The next is to also import compose with DevTools. Compose with DevTools. We just DevTools extension. And lastly, we import Tongue tank from Redux tank. So that is that. So we can begin and say let all middlewares be equal to tank. Then we say let store be equal to create store to bracket root reducer comma compose with dev2 to brackets what to bracket apply middlewares to bracket give us all the middlewares 1 2 3 and we say all middlewares. So that is that. So in future we can add more middlewares to it. So we can export our store now. So we say export store. Now export store to where? To the app.js. So go to app.js, then import store. So we say import store from where? Okay. From Redux, then store. So that is that with the store. We also need to import provider. Import provider from React Redux. React Redux. Now let's wrap the provider around the component. So we say provider. Inside the provider we can have our store equals store. So let's cut it and take it to the bottom. Good. So that is that. Our store is also ready. Now let's check our screen to see if there's any complaint. Great, we got no complaint. So we can check our store. Great, everything is initialized. Our store is ready. So what we're gonna do now is to link the store to the component so that we can fetch the API. So how to do that? We need to import. Let's close all this first. Close all this, close them all, and go back to our component. Good. Then we need to import 2 things. Good. Let's import use dispatch ATCH, then use selector from React Redux. Also, we need to import use effect from React. Good. So now next is to initialize our use dispatch. So we say initialize dispatch. So we say let's dispatch be equal to use dispatch. Okay, so our use dispatch is ready. So we can use our use effect to call the API. So we say use effect. Inside that we can say good. We have our array nicely. empty array. So inside that we can call load data. We say dispatch what? Load data. Now load data is in go to Redux, go to actions, go to action. Yeah, that's where the API is. So this load data, we need to call it. So we go back, we call it in our use effect. So we need to import that. So we say import load data. Good. So our load data is ready. So now let's see if we have our data. Good. Check the store. Great, guys, we got data. Nope. What? Where you going? That didn't come. Why you didn't give me data? Let's check that again. Go back to the store. Error. It's giving me error message. Why the error? Sorry guys, I had to pause the video to check the reason why I had data failure. Yeah, I'm back now. Now when you go to user.actions, I realized that instead of line 10, instead of dispatch, only dispatch, I wrote dispatch event. So you kindly check that out. So now let's take the event out. Good. Now let's go back to our browser again. Good. There you can see now we got data. We got data, guys. We got data. Yeah, that's that. Now next thing to do is to bring the data to the component. Okay. So how do we do that? Let's use selector. So to do that, let's go back to our app user app and I import use selector. So I need to view the data from the store. So how do I do that? We say, let me give it this and say comment and say view data from store. Good. So we say let's view user. Okay, let's call it user. Sorry, user equals use selector. Now inside that we can have our function. Good. We're gonna return state with the key, which is what? User key. So inside the function we can have the state. Now we need to import the user key. So let's go up and import the user key. The user key can be found in the user.reducer. When you go up, you realize that we did a key here, the user key here in the store. So we need to import that. So here I say import user key. Okay, that's that. It has been imported for us to user key. Now to check that out, we need to use a pre-tag to check it out. Call JSON. We say pre-tag, and inside that we can call JSON. We say JSON dot stringify to bracket view user. Good. Now let's check our screen. And you can see that our data is on the screen now. We can scroll to it nicely. You can see the name, the title, last name, location. Next to do is to get our spinner ready. So to do that, Go back to our components. Good. Then create a folder and call it spinner folder. Okay. Spinner folder. Good. Inside the spinner folder, let's create a file and call it spinner.js. Inside the spinner file, let's call it rfce. So instead of just div, let's give it react.fragment. Fragment. Good. Inside that we can say h1. Now we say hello. Good. Now let's link that to the user app to see if we can view that. Let me put that up there. Where are you? Good. Up here. Okay, let me put it down here. Let's say, what's the name? Spinner, right? Spinner. Good. Let me import it. Import spinner. So we say import spinner. Good. Great. Spinner is ready. Let's check our screen. We have hello here, so our spinner is ready. So we can import the spinner itself. So we go back to our spinner. Then we say instead of hello, let's create a div. Create a div and call it class name. Let's call it a spinner page. Spinner page, and inside that we can have our img tag src into brackets spinner image. Good. So inside that we can have our alt name, then close it. Good. That's that. For our spinner image, let's import the spinner image. So we say import spinner image from where? No, assets. Yeah, assets. We go to assets, then we go to spinners, then we call the name or the name of the spinner. Let's check that out. Go to asset spinner in.give. So we say in grf. Good. Got it. Yeah, guys, that's that. Now let's check that out. If we have our spinner, yeah, we have our spinner ready. So now what we need to do is to check the size of the spinner. So let's do that. And the spinner, I want it to be width. Okay, let's give it width. Okay, equals 200. Then height also 200. Good. So that's that. Let's check that out. Great. Now what we need to do next is to bring the spinner to the center of the page. Okay. So to do that, how about we make this centered? Yeah. We have our CSS that are centered already, so we can say here centered. Yeah, let's check that out. Great. And let's work on the spinner page. Now I can copy the spinner page, then make it the same as the profile container. Copy the spinner page and I take it to the CSS. Go to the profile container. so that the spinner can take the shape of the whole container, profile container. So I can say come in here, and that's put the spinner page there. Yeah, so that is that. Yeah. Let's see the background color of the spinner. So here I can just say down here and say background color white. Okay, let's check that out again. Good. So that is that, guys. So what we need to do is to take the spinner off where it is. We don't need it here. Yeah, so we take the spinner off here. Good. So we bring the spinner later. So what we need to do, let's check the gear again. Good. Now what we need to do next is to bring the data to there. When we check the listing, bring the data to there, to the components. Bring the data to the components. So what do? We go back to user app, then take the body out. Before the body, we need to have a condition, okay, to recap the profile container. We take note to taking the profile container out. Profile container. So let's take it out. Profile container. So you cut it. Okay, when you cut it, you can go to your notepad and paste it there, so that in case something happens, you still got your code back. So that is that. We go back now. Okay, so with our card body ready, let's create a condition. Then we say if view use loading equals true, then do what? Then display the spinner. Oh, sorry. Here, spinner with SPINNER. Good. Display the spinner. Otherwise, what do you do? Give us a React fragment. React.fragment. Good. So that is that. That will take care of the loading to and the spinner. You can check that out. Good. You can see the spinner is there. So next we want to do is make a condition to display the to display the data in the various components. So to do that, we need to map them. So we're going to take another condition here. Then we say view user. If view user, sorry. Then we say if view user dot data dot length th equals 0, then what do? Display now. Otherwise what? Then display another React fragment. React dot fragment. Okay, that's why. React dot fragment. close it. Good. So that is that. We have our React fragment. Then inside that we can map our data. So we say to map our data, we say view user dot data dot results dot map into bracket. That gives another function that will return what? Return a div. So inside that div we can call our key. We say key equals, and let's give email to key. So we say item dot email. So we put our item here too. So we have our item ready. Now let's check our screen if we have any issue. Great, we got no issues. So now we can go back to our profile container and copy everything again. Okay. So now we can paste our profile container and the div. So over here we say div. Good. So that is that. Let me see if I can rearrange this thing nicely. This on the cut body. Let's cut body. Yeah, that's it. Shift Alt F. Good, that's it. So now let's check that out. Good. So as you can see, guys, there's no complaint. So what we need to do is to change the quality there. The user bring the data, the results, bring the results here. Let's take them one after the other. Let's change the components. Let's take them the one after the other. Let's take the picture. Let's go. I can check my picture is what? Picture dot. Let's take large. Picture dot large. Okay. So we say picture dot large. So over here, so we come to our picture. We say item dot picture dot large. Let's check that out. Good. You can see the picture has changed. The next one to change is the user. That one is what? Let's check the name. User dot title dot first dot last. User. Good. Profile user. Go to over here. We change it. And so we say item dot name dot title. Good. Next one, we say item dot name dot first. The last one we say item dot name dot last. That's done. Let's check that out. Great, we have our name. Our next one is the country, so let's check the country too. Country, we have location dot country. So location dot country. So let's do that one too. The next one we say flag. We say we say item dot location dot country. Next one we say item.email, then item.phone. Item.email, item.phone. Good. Let's check that out. So good. So here is going to be item.phone. We have the item.phone. And last one, item.email. Item.email. Let's check that out. Great. I think the email, the font size is too big. Let's check that out. But before that, let's bring the load data to the distance so that we can create the next profile so that you can load the page, the next profile. So to do that, we go back to the button and give it an on-click function. So we say on-click and say no, and say give it btn click. So I copy that and create a function for it. Copy that, go upstairs. We say down here I can say this is for click button click. Okay, button click. Good. So instead of select btn click equals to a function, then inside that, what do we do? Let's go to use effect with dispatch load data. So I can just copy here dispatch, paste it there. So that is that. Let's check that out. Good. So when I click next, it loads another one. Yeah. So that is that, guys. What we can do now is to decrease the font size for the for the email. Yeah. So that is that. Next is to take the pre-tag off. Take the pre-tag. Where is the pre-tag? Pre-tag. Good. Take the pre-tag off. That is that, guys. Thank you for sticking through. Catch you in the next one. We say goodbye.